Yeah, the fanatic. Well, we keep it 100, keep it real. That's the only way we know how to be. Talking that sports talk. You know what I'm saying? Straight out of South Carolina, upstate, A64. Yeah, TFANATTIC. The fanatic, where we keep it OG. We talking sports, so I call what.
Welcome into the Fanatic, a sports show for sports fans by sports fans. It's your boy Coach I, and you know I got the stat guy with me. What's up, stat guy?
Ready to move forward, talk another week of college football. Hey, last week is in the past. Time to move forward, college football for what it is.
That's right, man. Hey, your Gamecocks had a rough weekend, but we're here to talk about those Seminoles versus the Hurricanes, one of the most well-known rivalries in college football, man. And we're on the week 10, stat guy. Week 10. You feel me? Like it's almost over, dog.
So you know how we feel about college football too. Come March and April, we're going to be like, especially the spring games, everything. Come on, calendar, turn to August, and then it feels like it gets here, and it just goes by so fast.
But yet and still, we got to talk about this Florida State Miami rivalry, man. They're gonna be playing in Miami at 7:30 on ABC on Saturday. Neither one of these teams, I can't say mathematically they're out, but I think they are of the ACC race. This is a coastal Atlantic matchup. These guys do not like each other. What's funny is my brother's a diehard Miami fan. I got several friends, good friends that are diehard Florida State fans. It's just an ugly rivalry, man. You know, we don't know which kicker is gonna go wide left. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about this past weekend, man. Miami played in one of the ugliest college football games this year against Virginia, but they did pull it out. Part of that reason is because Tyler Van Dyke's out. Jake Garcia was playing quarterback, and hey, when you got the backups in, man, you just don't know what you're going to get. I mean, they scored a whopping 14, but they came away with a dub, beating Virginia 14-12.
Look, you call it ugly college football. I call it the beauty of college football, man. 14-12 triple overtime with both teams scoring in both overtimes. You love to see it.
Oh, bro, you tell me at the beginning of the last week that they was going to go into triple overtime, the score was going to be 14-12, I'd have slapped you. But Florida State got off to a slow start, but they end up, having a hot second quarter. Jordan Travis threw for almost 400 yards. They ended up beating the trade school down there in Atlanta, the Yellow Jackets, like 41-16 or something like that. It was crazy. They just ended up pulling off, being a little too much for them, ending the dream run, win one for the Gipper since the Yellow Jackets fired Collins. So both of these teams are coming off of a win. Where do you place this rivalry, stat guy? I mean, we got Bama and Auburn. We got Michigan, Ohio State. You got Clemson, South Carolina. You got Georgia, Florida. You got, I guess, you got the Holy War. You got Bedlam. You got the Red River Shootout. Where is Florida State, Miami for you?
And this, being an 80s kid, growing up with this rivalry, being what it was in the 90s and even in the early 2000s, man, I just want to see both these teams get good again, really. And honestly, I think it'd be great for college football for this to be a top 10 matchup every year. Right now, this rivalry isn't even on the radar because both teams are where they're at as programs, right? Trying to rebuild, but it feels like they've both been trying to rebuild for a decade. So they just can't pump. And so, honestly, if I was to start list them off and ranking them, it still probably ends up in my top 10 somewhere. But this rivalry, with what it could have the potential to bring, this should be a top 5 rivalry on everybody's list when these teams are what these teams are capable of, especially with being able to recruit the state of Florida.
That's right. I think in all instances right now, it's not a huge rivalry, but in all time, Florida State, Miami, man, I'm like you. I think it can fight for close to the top 5. I'd have to think about it. Let's see. Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, Auburn. Because we live here, we know how heated the Clemson South Carolina rivalry gets. So it's top five. I don't know where it falls, but Miami and Florida State be right there, man. So because both teams aren't as good as they historically have been, but Florida State has shown some signs. Miami got a new coach. This could make for an interesting game this weekend. You know what I'm saying? So
Definitely could. And I mean, you called it ugly, but I mean, hey, end of the day, man, Miami got the win against Virginia. They did what they needed to do to keep it moving forward. And, Florida State started off hot, had to play the three teams that are arguably better than them on that Atlantic side, dropped all three, but then picked up the win against the trade school, as you like to call it. And so now they're back moving forward to try to finish out the season strong.
that's right. So let's talk about that Florida State offense versus the Miami defense, or what they actually put on the field as defense. You know what I'm saying? Well, hey, they held Virginia to 12, and that was in triple overtime. Not that Virginia's juggernaut on offense, but holding somebody to 12 is a feat in itself. Florida State, Jordan Travis has been playing more consistent, better football this year. He's, at the beginning of the year, he said he came in, he's feeling more comfortable. Like I say, he threw for 400 on Georgia Tech. He's played good, even like in the loss to Clemson, he played pretty good. They got those receivers on the outside. They got two. They got a good running back, room. So what are those numbers looking like for Florida State?
First, I mean, kind of an interesting fact from that game last weekend. They did something that they'd only previously done twice in school history, and that's have a quarterback throw for over 300, have a running back go for over 100, and have a receiver go for over 100, all in the same game. And so that's kind of cool. But on the season, man, you're looking at a pretty balanced offensive attack. You're looking at a team they're only averaging 32, which is probably kind of middle of the road with where we see college football now, what some of these offenses are doing. But you're looking at a rushing attack that's going for 209 a game, a passing attack that's 78 a game. I mean, so 487 in total offense is very respectable in today's college football. And it's very kind of balanced out with how they're getting there. It's not like they're run heavy or super pass heavy. They can kind of hurt you on all facets.
Yeah, and if this wasn't a rivalry game, like I think Miami will come to play because it's Florida State, I'd say that offense would be able to move the ball at will on Miami. I mean, and they still might be able to, but again, sometimes you just gotta throw some things out when it's a rivalry game, especially with it being played in Miami. Not once Miami gets them a own campus stadium one of these days, that sand playing in Miami is gonna have a different meaning. I know they have to travel a long way, but it's still it still is a home game. So is that Miami defense? Are they going to be?
Well, I was going to say that Miami defense, man, the numbers aren't bad. 22 game they're giving up, very respectable. And then only 113 on the ground and only 230 through the air. So it's not like they're getting blistered for yards all over the place. Now, I mean, you look at some of the teams they've played, right? They played Virginia, who struggles to move the football. They played
North Carolina. They played North Carolina, though, and held North Carolina to 27 points. Even though they lost, they held them to 27. Not many teams outside of Notre Dame, who is North Carolina's only loss, held them to 27 points.
Right. So, I mean, they've done some things that kind of give you hope that they're building something. Obviously, with this being year one, you just try to lay some groundwork. You try to get some more victories. You try to take some positives from the season and still some victories along the way to build that groundwork for what you're trying to build in the future.
Yeah, now on the other side, that Miami offense is hindered because of the injury to Tyler Van Dyke. Even though Tyler Van Dyke, I think he ended the year last year with like 6 games of 300-yard plus passing. Came to this season, something about Cristobal, man, and a really pass. What do I want to say? Pass-oriented quarterback. Like even when he had the guy at Justin Herbert at Oregon, Justin didn't really get to reach his ceiling because it's like that pro style offense, and it's like I know Cristobal wants to be balanced, but hey man, not Chris. Yeah, Cristobal wants to be balanced, but when you got a passer like before he got hurt, like Van Dyke, man, you got to throw the ball. You got to let that dude air it out. Show that gun off a little bit more.
I mean, you're looking at an offense that on the season's averaging 27 points. They're only putting up 132 on the ground, 290 through the air. So you're looking at 422 for the game. I mean, the 422 yards a game, you'll take that. But the sub 300 passing, only 130 on the ground. So it's still like they're pass heavy, but
Yeah.
they're not like a true pass heavy team that you're seeing throwing for 337 or 350 or some ridiculous numbers. So definitely some concerns on the Miami offense with them moving the football. And what are they going to look like now with Garcia at quarterback?
Yeah, now Cristobal is doing a good job bringing in some recruits. Good notes for the Miami fans. They just brought in Cormani McClain, I think is how you say it, the number one corner, which was a huge steal from Florida. So, and Cristobal has some, some receivers in this class, so he'll be trying to turn it around, man. But I think he's gonna have to update the offense a little bit more. Josh Gaddis, the offensive coordinator, has been underwhelming to say the least. He won the Broyles Award last year, coming off of Michigan. But even I said last year, even though he won that award, it's like they still were like a pro-style offense, and I don't know if that's gonna cut it these days unless you have a rushing attack, kind of like Michigan has this year. You know what I'm saying? And Miami's running game isn't that good, so I think they're gonna have to update the offense a little bit going forward if they want to be competitive in the ACC. As you can see, the Tar Heels, they can't stop nobody, but I think they can score on anybody.
Right. But so you flip it over to that Florida State defense, and, they've already got their 3 hardest games of the schedule out of the way with North Carolina State, Wake, and Clemson. Man, this is a defense giving up 21 points a game, 145 on the ground, and only $178 through the air. So they're definitely built to stand tough. And so very interested to see what they can do against a Miami team that kind of struggles to move the ball at times.
Yep, they're going to be licking their chops with this backup quarterbacks. So let's go ahead and talk predictions. All right, man, go ahead and give me the over-under on that game and the point spread for this game.
Yeah, so the over-under on the game is going to be 53, and Florida State, even on the road in Miami, is going to be favored by 8.5, which I think is very good, and they're going to Miami.
Okay, 8.5 and 53. So they thinking it's going to be kind of low scoring affair. I think Florida State is the better team. Will Miami cover the 8.5? I think I'm gonna take Florida State to win this one, even though it's on the road. I am gonna take Florida State to win, but I'm gonna take Miami to cover. I'm gonna take Florida State 27-19. I don't know how they're going to get 19, but 27-19.
Hey, look, they managed 14 in 3 overtimes. They can figure out a way to get to 19, trust. So, man, look, I got, same as you, man, bunch of friends that are Nole fans. I'll be honest, I think the Florida State survived. Well, I guess they didn't really survive their rough stretch because they went 0-3 in it. But they're done with it, right? You look ahead to winnable football games. I think they're a little bit better than they're being perceived in the media. And so I'm taking Florida State. I'm taking them to cover, and I'm going to take the over. I'm going Seminoles 34, Miami 23.
So they're covering and the over. There it is, Florida State, Miami fans. This is a rivalry. I want to know from the Florida State fans and Miami fans where this rivalry ranks for you. I think Miami, this may be their number one rivalry, but I think Florida State, it could be Miami, it could be Florida, it could be Clemson for all I know. Let us know in the comments who and where this, who all the rivals and where this rival ranks. And don't forget to leave your score predictions. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe for the Stat Guy. This is Coach I. We out.
Come rock with me.
Peace.
We got it jumping like it's that valley. I call my dogs out the pound, let's go eat. Turn on the fanatic, let's have a debate. Who really hold down the Southeast from state to state? What team hungry gonna eat everything up off they plate?